I'm joking. I'm joking. Oh. Oh. Kalushka. Here. Here. For you. For you. Hi. Hi, Hi there.
Okay. Morning, we're the blocha of Borer, selecting, and there are 4 different situations that we all consider in the category of selecting. It would be a random mixture. So you have a bowl of nuts, you have all kinds of different nuts, cashews and almonds and peanuts and all different things. So separating that mixture for later use is forbidden. What could be done if you want something from this mixture? Take what you want, leave what you don't want behind, and do that only when you're ready to eat, not for later time. That would be one category. The second category is that it's not mixed together as a bowl of nuts, but rather it's a tray. We have cake tray. So since they're all close together in a tray, they all become one unit. Here again, you only take what you want when you want it, and you cannot separate the different categories. You have a sponge cake, a marble cake, and brownie cake, and you want to put them away. You cannot take each category separately for later use, even though they're all edible, because you're separating, it's considered separating a mixture. You could take what you want when you're ready to use it. The same would be also in your drawer. You have different colored socks. Again, the drawer, they're all packed in, they all become one unit. It's like our tray of cakes. So this would also, your clothes would also go into that category. So you cannot separate out for later use. Take what you want when you're ready to use it. With clothes in a closet. So here again, if it's a closet it's a packed closet, it becomes like your tray. So it would affect us that you take when you want, when you're ready to use it. So you cannot take from this closet or this drawer Friday night to pick your outfit and then put it away at night. So in the morning, you won't have to go through the whole trauma of trying to pick what you want to wear, but rather you want to do it Friday night. In this case, can you do it Friday night? No. So either you do it on Friday afternoon or you do it Shabbos morning. So again here, take what you want when you're ready to wear it. Now, you went to the closet, you took out what you wanted, and you see after you take it out, you see you don't want it. Wrong outfit. That's not what you want to wear today. So what do? Do you have to wear what you took out?
No.
No. Okay. So the fact that you took it out, your intention was to use it. That was fine. So nothing wrong was done by taking it out. Now that you decide you don't want to use it, so you could put it back and take something else that you want to choose. So it goes according to what your intention was when you took it out, not what your intention to use it. You see, it has creases. It's not the what you. So in that case, it's not because you took what you wanted when you were ready to use it. So that was fine. Yes.
What if you have, for example, a pile of clothes? Are you allowed to take the pile apart to get something?
So here we have a pile of clothes. If you're able to see what you want and pull it out. That would be our number one. You're allowed to toss it. It's still a pile of clothes, but you're allowed to toss it to have the bottom on the top. The same would also be with your salad. You have a salad bowl where you have all different vegetables, and you want the tomatoes only. They're at the bottom. You're allowed to toss the salad in the bowl while it's in the bowl, and you'll have the tomatoes come on top, and you take what you want. You did not separate the mixture because everything is still in the bowl. What you're doing is just you're tossing it. Same thing is also with your pile. You could keep tossing your pile till you get to till you get to what you want. The same would be also you go to a Simcha Friday night. Everybody took off their coats on the couch. They're all piled up. You're ready to leave. So you don't have to wait until everybody comes and takes their coats until they find yours. But rather, again, you can look for your coat, pull it out, or if needed be, you'll peel the other coats off until you get to your coat. So you're peeling.
Oh, so take one at a time.
Yeah, just push them to the side until you get to your coat.
Right.
So that would be our second category. Third category would be things that are attached. The waste and the wanted are attached to each other. So let's take a few examples. One would be you have meat that has fats to it. You don't want the fats. So you cannot just cut away the fats because you're separating this. So it's considered a borer. It's considered into the category that it is waste and wanted together. So what the technical thing would be, hold on to the fat, cut away the meat, and take the meat. So you're taking what you want, leaving what you don't want behind. Another thing to do would be cut a slice of fats, cut the fats off, but leave a sliver, a thin slice together with the meat. So you didn't take it out of the mixture, it's still attached. The meat and the fats are still attached with a very, very thin layer versus what you had before, which was all a big part.
What about meat on the bone?
We'll come to it in one moment. Let me just get with this. Now you have a peach, that part of it is spoiled. Again, cutting away the spoiled parts for later use. You don't want it to spoil the rest of the foods out in the fruit bowl. You cannot do it for later use, cutting away the bad part. Again, what you're doing when you're ready to eat it, you would take what you want, leave what you don't want behind, or again, cut a sliver of peach that's going to have some of the good part of the peach together with the spoiled. In that case, you didn't take it out of mixture. It is now still attached with the spoiled part. So you have two options. One would be when you're ready to eat it, you cut away the good and eat the good when you're ready to eat it, not to do it at an earlier time. Another example would be you have a cluster of grapes. You're making a fruit bowl. You want to put the grapes on top, make it look nice. So that's fine, but there's a problem here because you have now spoiled grapes. Could you take the spoiled grapes off in order to put the cluster of grapes, a bunch of grapes on top of your fruit bowl? Can you take the spoiled grapes? So what about when you're ready to eat? Can you take off the spoiled grapes? No.
When you're
No.
ready to eat.
When you're ready to eat, you can only you have the bunch. You have grapes on a stem. Yes, all the grapes are all attached to this. Then you have the stem. You have spoiled grapes here. You're ready to eat the grapes. Can you take off the spoiled grapes?
No, just eat the ones you want.
Because that is borer. Even when you're ready to eat, you can only take what you want and leave what you don't want behind. Even when you're ready to eat, taking away the spoiled, the bad, is not acceptable. Except there are exceptions to this rule, which is the peel of something. You can't get to the banana, the orange. They're both attached, but there you have to take off the outer layer because you can't get to inside. But in case of grapes, grapes are all available. So you're not allowed to take, if you take off the bad grapes, that's called borer.
But you could take
The good grapes, just take what you want when you're ready to eat it. But if you want to put it into your fruit bowl, you'll have to put it in as is. What you could do, again, they come in little clusters. If the bad grape has together a couple of good grapes with it, you just take off that little stem. Then when you take the stem, you have now 3 grapes. The good ones with the bad ones. So you did not take the bad ones out specifically, because you take it with a good bite, but it's on the stem. You have a stem, and on the stem you have a couple of grapes. Some are good, some are bad.
Right.
So you take off the whole stem. You did not take the bad because it's still together in the same mixture. The good and the bad are still there. The same as we spoke about slicing off that piece of meat with some fats. Meat and fat are still attached. Over here you have the bad grapes are still attached to the good grapes. So that you could do. Take off if it's on a little stem, and when you take the stem off together with the bad, you'll take off the good with the bad. So that was an acceptable thing.
What do you do with the drumstick?
Okay, so now we're going to go to the eating chicken or eating fish. Now let's start off with the fish. Now we have the traditional fish that is served most times is gefilte fish, right? Gefilte fish. Everyone knows what gefilte fish is. Okay, at one time, gefilte means it's filled. What they used to do is they used to have some filling in the fish, made it very fancy. So it was gefilte fish. But before Shabbos, they would take out all the bones, grind the fish. They would have a grinder. Anyone knows such a grinder? So you attach to the table, and they would turn the handle.
That's how they created the gefilte fish?
That's how they used to take the fish before Shabbos. They used to take the slice of fish and put it into the grinder and turn the handle and get the gefilte fish. And the reason why they made it that way was they took out all the bones before Shabbos. So it was never a Shabbos issue of what are you going to do with the bones, because it was too complicated to make it that way. So there are certain fish that are basically do not have bones. So those are the ones that one would make it easier to pick for Shabbos. So usually the salmon fish does not have bones. The white fish does have bones, many little bones. So there you have to figure out how to eat the fish. So let's see what are the choices. So number one is whatever is in your mouth, you're allowed to take out. So if you have a piece of fish that has a bone in it, you take it out. That's even though you're taking out the bad from the good, but it's in your mouth, and you're not expected to swallow it. Yes, your question.
You're allowed to use this thing on.
Not on Shabbos, no, not Shabbos. That's a special tool that is grinding. It has its own malacha of grinding, breaking something down to small pieces. Right. That's its own. Because you're using it with a tool, even though it would not apply to fish, because the grinding only applies to things that come from the ground. So that's another category, but not to you, but the grinder itself is a tool that's used for breaking things down, which goes into its own category. But that's left for that. Okay. So now, so in your mouth, you take out the bad, whatever it is, pits, bones, peels, whatever else it is. Now, while it's on the table, same thing would be with our chicken. You take what you want and you leave what you don't want behind. Therefore, you would hold on with your fork to the bone and then cut away. As long as you leave some meat on the bone, then really didn't take it completely out of mixture. So you could take away the bone with the meat that's still on it. Our question is, what about taking away the bone? So when you're eating it, you take what you want, you take the chicken that you want, and you leave what you don't want behind. But if you do want to remove it from your plate, So as long as there's some meat on the bone, so it's still considered attached, as we had that sliver of the fats. So that would all go together. So you take what you want, leave what you don't want behind. If you have some meat still on the bone, so the bone is not muktzah, it still is considered the chicken as is.
So you should leave some meat.
What matters what you want to do. It matters.
Some that you want on window.
That's correct. Yes. So in that case, so you didn't take it out, but as you're eating, you are permitted to leave behind what you don't want. You don't want the bone, so you're taking the meat, chicken from the bone instead of taking away the bone and putting that separately.
So it's okay, after you're done eating, there's nothing on the bone, so you already took what you want.
So then it becomes the question was, now you have something muktzah on your plates. That's the issue now. The bone without any meat is muktzah unless it's a bone that's edible for animals. You have different bones that are in the meat bones usually are not edible even for an animal. So those become muktzah. So removing the plate from the table, it's best to leave something edible inside the plate, so the plate does not become serving entirely something muktzah. It's also serving something that is edible.
I have a question. So after you eat what you want, the bone is now muktzah.
But there's no meat on it yet.
So what does that mean? You can't.
Oh no. So if it is a bone that's edible to an animal, a dog, even though you don't have a dog, but if it's edible, so it's not considered something that's muktzah because it's still a useful item.
Okay, so if someone did it, let's say they did know that, but not, like closing a light or opening a light is muktzah.
So that's not muktzah. That goes into a case of doing a forbidden activity. That is.
The different falls in a different category.
So muktzah is moving something that is not useful.
Like flour.
Oh, and you're saying it's specific just because you're eating something.
It's specifically because it is. Let's take a hammer for instance. A hammer is muktzah because it's used for building. Shabbos you cannot build, so you cannot handle the hammer on Shabbos.
Yeah, but
That goes into the category of muktzah. Same thing is also with bones. You have bones that are not edible for any animal. So what is it? It's something that is not a vessel, not something that could be used. So then you can't handle it. It would be just like rocks, just like.
I never knew that muktzah can fall in, but it's cooked beforehand.
I know. So as long as it's edible, so it's not muktzah.
Oh, yeah.
As long as it's edible, it's not
Edible
muktzah.
things, yeah.
It's anything that's edible for either human or animals is not muktzah.
Okay, so chicken bones are not muktzah.
Because I guess animals can eat it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes there's some marrow. Some humans can also. Some people there's marrow inside. Some people like to crack the bone and suck out the fat. So as long as it has the marrow inside, then it's not muktzah because it's still.
Even if the bone is soft, you can.
Yeah. So this even though you're not going to do it, but as long as it's possible, we go according to the possibility. As long as it's possible, then it doesn't go.
Question. But how like putting another food, for example, okay, fine, don't have anything left on that one. How putting another food on the plate make it not?
No, it's you would leave to begin with some food before you don't finish it. You don't finish everything on the plate. You leave a little something there. Our question now is going to be taking away the plate from the table. That's our issue.
That's what I'm saying, how it's making it not muktzah. Like,
Oh no, so
fine,
if you have,
it's
so you have,
but
if
you
you
put whatever.
if you have an
salt,
item-
it's not muktzah.
you have, okay, let's go to an example. If you have a drawer, and inside the drawer is muktzah items and non-muktzah items. Can you open the drawer on Shabbos?
That's a very good question. I've been wondering, I've been thinking, if there's something you need.
So then
If
the-
there's
so the technical thing is what is the drawer serving? Is it mainly serving the permissible items, or is it mainly serving the non-permissible items?
As in, is
And it
there
would,
more
and,
of?
and it would go into, I guess, value, and that itself is how do you evaluate what's value? Whatever is more valuable would be the one that is primary.
So there's a
And
phone
there-
in the drawer.
There's a phone in the drawer, so you cannot open the drawer unless there's something that is more valuable than the phone that is permissible.
What if it's in a bag, like in a backpack, you have?
The same thing goes with a backpack as well. As long as you can open the backpack and take out whatever you want, but to move the backpack matters what is inside, so that you have your books that are permissible. So value of the books versus whatever else is there. So you have a pen and you have your books, so then
Right.
it would serve the books more than the pen.
But if my phone or laptop. was in
Oh,
the
so
bag,
that takes back the primary, unless you have something else that's really.
You say value is monetary?
Okay, so I said we're not going to go into this now. We have to, how do you make this determination? What is more valuable? What is more valuable to you? Or some sentimental or whatever? We're not going to go into that. That we're going to leave for another time. But I just want to use that as an example. So in case where there is more, where it serves more the permissible thing than the non-permissible thing, then it's not muktzah, and you could open and close the drawer. Same thing is also going with your plate. Bones are not, once they're finished, they have no value. Any food that's on the plate does have value because it's edible, it's food. So we're going to speak about a bone, you're going to speak about food, which one is more prominent, which is the plate serving the food. In that case, you're moving the plate because the food is there, and you're taking it away from the
So
table.
leave food in
So
the
I have
plate.
a really good question. So to different people in a certain girls, men, women, whatever. So if I think that the food is more valuable for some reason or pen, then it's either, but it's different for her. It's different for her. She like these pens.
It's
that
subjective,
means-
it's subjective.
But
It's subjective.
I'm trying to figure out how that makes sense with different people's preferences.
Yeah, so,
Which thing they want more.
whatever is, whatever is something that is more valuable to them, yes. It would go to, according to,
Oh, it's according.
I think, I said, we're going to, it's too detailed to go into, what's the average, you go according to the average, you go according to the person, it's a very detailed thing, so
Yeah, I
we're going to
think
leave
it's-
it we'll leave it for
Okay.
Muktzah.
So does that mean that like actually you don't need to like the bone doesn't have to have meat on it, like just if there is food in the plate then.
Yes, so then, that's correct.
But I thought bones are not muktzah because it can be eaten by an animal.
That's what I'm saying, so I'm speaking about Muktzah bones now.
Oh,
Only in a muktzah bone, only in a muktzah. If it's not a muktzah bone, then there's no issue to begin with.
oh, so like
It's
chicken
only,
is.
it's only a muktzah bone, only a bone that is from a meat bone that has no marrow in it, and it's very hard, and even the dog can't bite it. It's only those, only that bone. Regular bones, we said again, we came to a conclusion, we came to a conclusion that the regular bones are edible, and therefore they're not muktzah, and therefore you can move the plate, there is no issue with it. It's only be those bones that are not edible for any animal, and then we have what do we do with the plate?
The same thing if you have a fruit that has a hard seed,
Hmm?
a fruit that has a hard seed, same
Yes?
thing.
Okay.
Right.
Now, so that was with the different categories. Now, let's see, so when it comes to eating, we have the three conditions. It has to be, if you are going to be peeling something, so it has to be done right before eating. Has to be done so let's think about a cluster of grapes, and it has bad grapes on them. So you're allowed to take you're allowed to take the good grapes when you're ready to eat, if you're taking it out of the mixture, and when you're ready to eat. Now, so that would be if you have your cluster of grapes, and you want to serve only the good grapes. So you take all the good grapes when you're ready to serve them. So that would be, let's take another example. You have you have a mixture of things that are spoiled and things that are good. Spoiled things and good things, you want to separate the two, only separate them when you're ready to use it. Take away the good, leave the bad behind. That would be without a special tool. A fork and a spoon, if it's there to extension of the hand, so then it's not a special tool. If you're not doing a special tool, for instance, you have a slotted spoon cannot be used to separate this mixture. Things that are in a liquid. Things in a liquid, so you have soup, and you have the noodles in the soup. So that's considered a mixture. If you just want the soup and you don't want the noodles, what do?
Or,
Okay, so that
or
would be,
just one noodle.
okay, so now you want to pour over the soup to another plate, and you don't want the noodles. Could you put a lid on to stop the noodles from going? That's considered as a tool, so you cannot do
So
that.
now, wait,
Same thing
with
with,
water in it, when water?
we speak of soup, a soup that has noodles in it. It's a
A
soup,
pot?
it's a pot of soup, a plate of soup. So now we want only the soup, we don't want the noodles. So as long as the noodles are not taken out of mixture,
To separate.
so no separation was done. So you could pour from the plate or the pot into another vessel, into another plate or pot, bowl. And you keep pouring until you come where there's still a layer of liquid over the noodles. In that case, the noodles are still in mixture. You did not separate the noodles yet. So then you're allowed to keep pouring until you get to the base of the pot or the plate that has the noodles. In that case, you can have the soup, and the soup and the noodles stay behind. And when you're allowed to do that is when you're ready to eat.
So yeah, there's a lot of actually areas of separation that you can't pick out, even if it's peas or, I don't know.
Right, yeah.
Even, yeah, I think it's not that's not supposed to be done.
Yes, so that would be, this malacha borer, taking out what you don't want is the malacha. So we have, so let's, so this would be the same also if we have tea leaves. You have those who make the loose tea, pour boiling water on the loose tea. Then you have it in a teapot that has a little filter on the end of it, the pot or without it. So again, using that on Shabbos. So as long as there's still the water and the tea leaves in solution, so you're allowed to use this teapot. It's going to be pouring out, but as long as you leave the tea in solution. What about a tea? Now we have a tea bag. A tea bag is keeping the tea leaves together, and it's serving as a filter. So now what do we do with that? So in Shabbos, it would be a kli shlishi, not to cook the tea leaves. In some circles, they would wait until the water is not so hot, still able to be able to drink it without, as is, so that's considered cooled off sufficiently. So they would, even in a kli shlishi, they would wait until it cools down some. In our community, we basically go kli shlishi, and we go by that. So now you put, the tea bag is now inside the tea, and now you want to drink your tea. What do you do with your tea bag? So we have a few options. One option would be drink it as is with a tea bag. Next option would be, what else could we do?
Take the tea bag out,
Take the tea bag out, you're filtering it.
keep the water
Take the water out. So now you're going to pour the water over into another cup and leave the tea bag in solution. So you're not filtering the water because the water and the tea leaves are still all mixed together at the bottom of your cup. So I said three options. So far we had two options. Okay. Third option would be you're leaving in the solution because you're putting it in your spoon. The spoon has the liquid in it, so really it did not drain out. It did not filter out the water that's in the tea bag because you took it together with the spoon, and it's still in solution. Our idea is not just taking that by it's not the spoon that's making it, it's the fact that it's in solution. It would be similar to the second one, where you're pouring out the tea and leaving the tea bag behind. In this case, what you're doing is you're taking it with the spoon and you're removing it together with the spoon because there is liquid in it.
And when you take the liquid and you leave the tea bag behind, you're not releasing liquid,
Yes. Yes.
like to cover it or just enough?
It should still, it's enough to cover the tea that's in the bag. Now there are some. So we're speaking about tea leaves in solution. We're speaking about the noodles. We're speaking about vegetables that are small. All those are considered a mixture. Now, what about if you have liquid and a solid that's very, very prominent difference between the two? Do we consider that a mixture? So we have now hard-boiled eggs in water. That's you cooked them before Shabbos. You did not empty out the water. Now on Shabbos, you have the hard-boiled eggs that are still in the pot that you cooked them in, and it's still filled with water. And you want to take it Friday night to take it and put it in the refrigerator. Can you do that?
Yeah, I think that is.
Can you take the eggs out? Is it considered a mixture? Is it considered a mixture or not? That's our question. So if it would be a mixture, you could only take the eggs out when you're ready to make the egg salad, right before the meal. If it were a mixture. The question is that we want to do it Friday night. We want to take it out of the pot, put it in the refrigerator. Can we do that Friday night?
I don't think it's a mixture.
What do we say here? Eggs and water, is it a mixture?
The water is just there for you to cook the eggs.
But is that,
Soup of eggs.
I know, but is that considered a mixture?
Because it's not one unit, it doesn't appear as one unit.
Okay,
I don't think it's.
correct. It's not one unit since the eggs are very distinct. It's not mixed together with the water. The tea leaves and the water are mixed together. The egg and the water are not mixed together. The same would also be when you're speaking about there's a soup pot that has portions of chicken in them. If it's large portions of chicken in the soup, Friday night, you want to put it in the refrigerator, you can take out the chicken if they are large portions. If the chicken fell apart and it sort of became scattered in the soup, then that's a mixture. Same thing goes with vegetables. You have a large carrot, that's not a mixture. If you have carrots that's sliced up and it's in the soup, that's a part of the soup. It's considered a mixture. So depending on how big the item is that's in a liquid, that would determine if you're allowed to do it at an earlier time, or you want to separate the two when you're taking away what you don't want, leaving what you do want behind. In other words, what happens if you don't want the chicken, you only want the soup? So there's no issue taking out the chicken because it's not a mixture. So then you're allowed to take whatever you want. It's not a mixture. The same would also be you have your pickles in the pickle jar. So here you have the liquid, you have the pickles. You want to take out the pickles, or you want to pour out the liquid and leave the pickles behind, whatever way you want to do it. Again, we're not considering, the pickles are big, large enough to have their own identity, and it's not a part of a solution, of a mixture. That would be some of the examples of that. With peeling, so that's something that is attached. So here you're only allowed to peel it when you're ready to eat it. Or when you're preparing the fruit salad for the meal, when you're ready to, when you right before the meal, you're preparing the meal, then you're allowed to peel your eggs, the orange peels. So what do we do with the egg peels? Egg peels are not edible. They become they're muktzah. So the best way to do it would be to peel them over Shabbos. I don't know if you want to do that. So what you would do is peel them over the garbage, over the wastebasket, peel them straight into the garbage can, and you have no issue about what to do with the peels. With the shell. So now what happens if you're peeling them on your countertop? So it matters how disgusting it is to you after you finished it. Something that's disgusting, you're allowed to remove. So that would be
On a napkin?
put on a napkin, and again,
The napkin is not muktzah.
no, but you're making out the napkin muktzah because now it's serving the egg peels. So then it becomes muktzah as you made it into a muktzah item by putting that, right? So again, once you peeled it and it's something that is disgusting to you, you're allowed to remove it. But our first choice would be not to make that pile to begin with, yes. The same would also be, I guess, you're eating cherries. You put it into a plate. You put it into a plate. The best way to be. So when we're having cherries, you're having the pits that are not edible in any way. You're going to it would be best to put them in a place that also has something permissible there. That later you're able to take away the plate, and not to start to thinking, what could you do with this plate? It's that disgusting to you. You want to put it at the table. It comes all these. It matters again with the person's lifestyle. Some people don't mind leaving dishes on the table. Yes, if it has if it has something on it, so then it's still serving the. Feeding a baby with something that does have pits in it. It has things that we're concerned about the baby's safety. We said you can't take out the bones manually. You'd have to cut away the fish from the bone and take what you want and leave what you don't want behind. If you do have a bone, you leave a little fish with it and take away the rest. That would be the way to eat chicken with our fish with bones. When you're feeding a baby. So to an adult, if they've missed out something, it's in their mouth, they're able to feel that there is a bone and they would remove it. A child, we're not doing that. So for a child, as you're feeding the child, make sure that there are no bones in that which you are giving them, and you would feed the child. So a child would be an exception of taking out what you don't want because of the safety of the child. Same thing as you're feeding a child something that has the pits in it, bones in it. We're concerned about the baby's safety. So then as you're feeding the baby, you make sure that the baby is going to be safe. So whatever it takes. You're feeding them again with you're feeding the watermelon. So what do you do with the watermelon pits? Right now you have the seedless watermelon, so they took the Shabbos issue out because it's seedless. But what happens if you do have the seeds? So what would be the proper way to eat the watermelon? So again, picking out the seeds would be our issue, taking what you don't want. So what do?
You could eat the seeds.
You could eat the seeds. What else could you do? Remove the seeds from your mouth. Number 3 would be cut or eat around. When you're cutting up the watermelon, cut around and leave the seed with some of the watermelon, and you're eating what you want and leaving what you don't want.
Can you cut the core?
An apple core, you cut around it, you leave the center as is, you just keep cutting the apple and leaving the center with the pits without taking out any of the pits. You cannot use a corer.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You have a question?
No, I had to go. I just wanted to thank you.
Okay, be well. Okay, so Did everyone read this chapter? I don't want to leave anything. This since it's so much. We pretty much. Please read the chapter. If there's any questions, come back with me because Borer is one of the most common and most detailed of the malachas. Borer is Chassidus discusses every malacha. Why on Shabbos it's forbidden, and the weekdays it is permissible. Borer is separating the good from the bad. That's our avoda all the week. To separate, that is our avoda. On Shabbos, everything becomes elevated, and therefore everything becomes consecrated. Everything becomes holy. There is no borer. There's no need for that because everything is elevated. So why are you now making the separation? Why don't you just focus on the holy, on the positive? That's what you should be focusing on. The rest of it is not your Shabbos concern. The weekdays, you do borer, go right ahead into borer. That is our avoda. Okay? So Chassidus does deal with every malacha. What is the significance of this malacha? Why on Shabbos it is forbidden, and the weekdays it is a part of our serving Hashem.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
After